All right, hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Daily Crow. I'm Chris Phillips of the Spurs Up Show, coming to you live as always. Obviously, South Carolina Baseball's 2019 season ending last night at the hands of the LSU Tigers in the SEC tournament. I want to talk about sort of looking back on 2019 and more so look ahead to what South Carolina needs to fix this offseason to right the ship and get things going on the right track again in 2020. Before I dive into everything, it's obviously a broadcast given to you by our friends over at SeatGeek. SeatGeek, the best ticket buying app by far, the only ticket buying app that I use. Please be sure to go download SeatGeek, use the promo code SPURSUP, save $10 off your first purchase. They got tickets to literally anything and everything from NFL, NBA, NHL, college football, concerts, comedy club events. Doesn't have to be sports, but if you are going any South Carolina Gamecocks sporting events, maybe you're starting to buy your South Carolina Gamecocks football tickets, please do it through SeatGeek. They're the best ticket buying app by far. Like I said, they actually rate the tickets for you based on a ticket rating system, so you know what you're buying before you click buy. You know if you're getting a really good deal. You know if you're getting kind of ripped off. So please be sure, use our friends over at SeatGeek. Again, that's SeatGeek. Download that SeatGeek app. Use the promo code SPURSUP. Save $10 off. All right, like I said, I want to talk some Gamecocks baseball. And as the 2019 season closes, what does South Carolina need to do this offseason? What are the things they need to address to ensure they have a bounce back year in 2020 and possibly make a run back to Omaha where South Carolina rightfully belongs? The first thing I want to talk about, of course, is the questions in the pitching staff. I think they've got to answer the questions in the pitching staff. Gamecocks, in my opinion, got to find a true number one starter. Mark Kingston cited it time after time, weekend after weekend. The Gamecocks were simply outmanned when it came to their SEC pitching staff, when it came to their pitching staff on the weekends in the SEC, and that's what you saw lead to an 8-22 SEC record. There are many series, I think the first 5 or 6, that South Carolina had an opportunity to win the third game, to win 2 of 3 games, and just simply could not get it done simply because of their lack of arms, simply could not compete. What do you do with Brett Carey? I think finding out what you want to do with him, whether you make him a weekend starter, whether you make him your closer, I think finding out his role is going to be very important for South Carolina this offseason as well. Also, develop the guys you've already got on campus while also bringing on more talent. There's no secret this staff has got guys who can pitch. Danny Lloyd, Dylan Harley, guys that were young this year. Reed Morgan, Brett Carey, Cam Tringali, Parker Coyne, guys that are capable but need to be developed. They need to continue to get better, and also getting healthy, obviously. You get Carmen Majinski back. You get Graham Lawson back. You get Ridge Chapman back, hopefully healthy for the 2020 season. Getting those guys healthy and then developing the guys you already have on campus is going to be major for this Gamecocks pitching staff, because I know I harp too much on the pitchers. I know I don't give the hitters enough of the blame, and I should. But to me, great pitching beats great hitting. And the thing that all of the SEC teams have in common that are really good, they've got a lot of big-time capable arms and a lot of guys that are very good, going to be pitching for a long time. So I think getting that pitching staff developed, getting them back right is going to be huge for turning this thing around and getting the ship right in 2020. Something else I think needs to be answered. What's the status on Noah Campbell? I'm not 100% sure what happened to Noah Campbell this season. I think he actually finished the season hitting like 229 on the year, which really wasn't that bad considering how he started. But what does Noah Campbell do to exercise the demons and get better this offseason? Because he was a guy that came in, obviously, with all the accolades, preseason All-American, preseason All-SEC, tore up the Cape Cod last year. I don't know how many times we've heard that. But a guy that just simply did not live up to any of the hype. Was it mental? Was it something in his approach? Was it something in his mechanics? I think that's something Noah Campbell's going to have to figure out, because the Gamecocks are going to desperately need him next year in a lineup that'll be a lot of guys returning, but somewhat revamped, somewhat retooled. The Gamecocks need the good side of Noah Campbell. He's too good of a player to hit the way he did this year. I think he only had a .325 on base percentage. From the leadoff spot, he's way too quick. He's way too good of a player, and they need more from him if they're going to turn this thing around in 2020. To me, one of the biggest questions need to be answered as well. Simply, who replaces T.J. Hopkins, Jacob Olsen, and Chris Cullen, your veteran leaders that left after this season? Obviously, Hopkins and Olsen were 2 guys that were very consistent for you. Olsen led the team with 13 home runs on the season. T.J. Hopkins, a guy that was named National Hitter of the Week earlier in the season for his performance against Clemson. Also, Jacob Olsen picked up that honor as well. And Chris Cullen, a guy that while he didn't have the accolades of the other 2, certainly was a solid guy for you at first base, and a guy had a big hit in the LSU game last night, and a guy that you could truly depend on. And these guys were veteran leaders of your clubhouse. So where does that production, where does that leadership come from for the 2020 team? I think it's something that's going to be very important to address for South Carolina, because let's face it, the Gamecocks are going into a 2020 baseball season where there is going to be a lot of pressure. There is going to be a lot of pressure on Mark Kingston, this staff, to perform, to turn this thing around. South Carolina baseball fans are not patient. They're not going to be patient. I don't think they really should be patient. It's going to be very, very important for those guys to turn it around. Also, my last question I think South Carolina needs to address is just simply, what do you get from the new guys coming in? What new guys are you going to insert that are going to help you? Because you did a good thing, I think, in 2019 going the JUCO route. We saw guys like Brady Allen, Andrew Eister, who I think is your best returning hitter, Luke Berryhill, who's your catcher. Without a doubt, was a great addition this season. But what other guys can they pick up from the transfer or the JUCO market? What guys can they pick up that are true freshmen that can come in and help immediately? Because the Gamecocks need some roster help. There's no doubt. They need roster help. They need guys that can come in and play immediately. And I think they'll be able to get those guys. It sounds like Mark Kingston, those guys are recruiting really well. But, will South Carolina be able to pull in enough to turn this thing around, right the ship, like I said? So that's pretty much going to do it for me. Again, wrapping up the 2019 season, it certainly was a grind. It wasn't what we all expected and all hoped for. There were definitely some good memories. You think back to the Clemson series and you think back to really just the Clemson series, but non-conference was fun as well, but just a tough season. And you have to hope that Mark Kingston's staff, this team, this program can learn from it, not let it define them, not let it break them, and simply just learn from what happened over this 2019 season and then flush it and forget about it as quickly as possible. Because, again, Gamecock baseball fans are not going to be patient. They shouldn't be patient. This is a great, proud program, and I expect South Carolina – I really do expect South Carolina to bounce back in a truly a big way. I think they'll have a big 2020, but obviously just wanted to come to you guys, close the book on the 2019 season. Appreciate everyone who followed along, me, the Spurs Up Show. Really do appreciate you guys. Baseball season, obviously a very fun time for me, and while I know the results weren't there for us, really appreciate you guys following along with me. And again, I expect South Carolina to have a big bounce back 2020. Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you haven't done so, subscribe to the Spurs Up Show. I have a fantastic interview dropping tomorrow with former Gamecocks quarterback Anthony Wright. But until then, appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks.